Hey everyone, here we are with another video, and today I'm looking at the Lenovo Y27g G-Sync monitor. This is a brand new gaming oriented monitor from Lenovo. They also have a FreeSync version, which is I believe the Y27F, F for FreeSync. So today I'm looking at the G-Sync one because I have an NVIDIA graphics card. What's special about this monitor, yes, it is G-Sync, but it also is a VA display panel. So basically that stands for vertical alignment, and with all the different types of monitors that are out there, they all have different technologies behind them. So the most common monitor is a TN panel, and those panels offer very fast response times. They're a lot of gamers, first-person shooter type players use them because they're very fast, but they don't really have the greatest image quality. They don't have the great deep blacks, high contrast, and color reproduction. The advantage that a VA panel has is it has a very high static contrast ratio. So this panel is rated at 3000 to 1, whereas your typical TN panel, for example, maybe can do 1000 to 1, but typically it's under 1000 to 1. Then there's also IPS panels, which are used on a lot of mobile phones and also now monitors. IPSs have, again, not that great contrast ratio. You're lucky to get, again, 1000 to 1, but they do have better color than TN, and some would argue better color than VAs. IPSs are also fairly quick for response time, but not as good as TNs. The biggest drawback with a VA panel is the fact that it's not a very fast panel. So there is always going to be a little bit of a chance, depending on what's on the screen in terms of colors and image, that you could see a little bit of trailing, a little bit of ghosting. It might not feel as responsive, but with all these displays, they all have their pros and cons, and for me, I prioritize image quality. I cannot stand it when I see blacks that look like light grays, or where the contrast, you could just tell there's like like something over top of the overall screen that is like washing out the image, and that's what TN does. And IPS does. IPS is better, but it still is nothing in terms of image quality to a VA panel. So I have used this Lenovo panel for a few days now, so I want to go over just kind of the things that I've noticed about it, because no one's really been talking about this panel, because again, it's Lenovo and I don't think people are kind of expecting it. I have noticed that there's some clouding around the screen, and that's an issue that can always happen with any type of panel, whether it's a TN, IPS, or a VA panel. My panel also did come with 2 dead pixels, and in my opinion, when you're spending upwards to over $500 or more on a monitor, you shouldn't accept any issues with it. This screen is a 27-inch. It's a curved display, which is interesting. The actual panel itself is Samsung made. Lenovo is the brand that you're buying, but the actual panel itself is being supplied by Samsung. One big downside that many people will say about this monitor is that it is 1080p only. It's not 1440p, which is more ideal for the 27-inch or higher monitor displays. So if you're really someone who's all about the pixels, then this is probably a monitor that you wouldn't even consider. You can kind of see, and with my camera I've set my ISO to 1600. I think this is a kind of a realistic view of how I see it with my eyes. If I open it up more, you'd see more of the the clouding issues and things like that. But you can kind of notice with the 1600, there's clouding around the corners essentially. Right in the middle there, you can see that the blacks do look very deep, which is good. So let me just play the video here so you can kind of see what it looks like playing a movie. So I've got Star Wars here playing, and I'm not going to play too much of it and I'm not turning the sound on because I don't want to have any issues with this video getting uploaded. Just so you can get an idea of what it looks like. So even with the image now in the middle with the movie, you can still make out the clouding issues at the bottom and the top there. But overall, this is, you know, going to be better than what you get with a TN panel or an IPS. So, you know, the reason why I'm not happy with it is because I have another VA panel, an Izio Forest FG2421, and it's a VA panel as well, and it's a perfect panel. It has no problems. It has no clouding issues. The blacks are even deeper than this panel. It's 120 hertz. You know, it's a great panel. The reason why I want to check this one out is I've been really looking forward to a VA panel that offers G-Sync, because I have an NVIDIA's graphics card and I know G-Sync has a lot of you know, benefits. So I was really hoping that this monitor would, you know, be essentially like my Izio, but then just have the 144 hertz and the G-Sync. So I guess that's why I'm disappointed, is because I have something to compare it to, and I think I will show you some shots of this on my Izio panel as well, so you can see the difference. So I mean, like, if this is the first time you've ever seen a VA panel and you were to buy this, I'm sure you'd be very impressed. But if you're like me and you've had, you know, used VA panels before, then it starts to not look as impressive. But still, you know, it is definitely got a high contrast ratio and things like that. It just doesn't have the deep blacks that I was hoping for, and because of the clouding issues. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to load up a game, and we can kind of see how it looks with some gameplay.
Pinpoint my location and alert.
So I am playing at 1080p, 144 hertz with G-Sync. All my graphical settings are maxed out in this game. I'm not actually going to do that mission there. I'm just going to kind of fly around here and feel how it responds. So I'm playing the game on a pretty high-end system. I have 32 gigs of DDR4, GTX 1080, and 5960X, 8-core. So I've never had problems running this game, even when it launched. Still does stutter and things like that. You'll see it occasionally like hitch and stuff, and that's even with G-Sync. I think that's just a game issue. All the Batman games have run like shit on PC, so this one just ran even worse. Let's do that mission over there with the fire, because that's a pretty fun mission with Firefly. I'm gonna have to call the Batmobile to do this. Is it on the other side? It's on the other side.
Going back to jail. The scarecrow promised me Gotham. Tinted for my face. Let the fire burn.
Oop. I haven't been playing this game in a while, so my controls I've forgotten a little bit. So I mean, when you're playing the game, you know, those issues that I noticed, that I had mentioned before about, like, you know, like the black light, the backlight clouding issues, and the blacks, like, you don't notice any of that kind of stuff when you're playing the game like a game like how you are now. It's only really like when you're doing movies. So I mean, for most people, I think the issues that I had there with the clouding and the blacks, it's not going to be a problem for many people, because when you're using the monitor like this with just gaming, you don't even notice it. But if you're going to watch movies or TV and things like that on your computer, then you will notice those things. So you just have to kind of weigh that. Is that something that you can put up with?
You can't stop me, Batman. Gotham will be ashes, my God.
Another run-in with fireflies up.
Just like the last time.
So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you some views of the monitor from the side. So here you can see the monitor from the side, and you lose a little bit of detail on the far right. This also gives you an idea of kind of like the curve as well. And then as I move over here, you're gonna find that the image isn't as washed out. And when you go back, so not that bad really. I don't have a TN panel to compare this to, but normally with a TN panel you wouldn't see nearly as much detail as what you're seeing right now. So what I've done here is I've turned on my other VA panel, which is the Izio Force FG2421 on the right, and then there's the Lenovo Y27g on the left. I want to show you the difference in panels here. So you can actually see on the left hand side the Lenovo has, you know, there's quite a significant difference. There's lots of clouding issues there compared to the panel on the right. And this, the Lenovo, the brightness is actually like down to 50%, which is, I wouldn't even want to go any lower than that, because then the whole image of the screen just gets too dark and it's not worth it in my opinion. The Izio on the right, the brightness is set at 90%. So you can see there's no comparison that, you know, the Izio is by far superior in terms of blacks and the panel in terms of quality with clouding. I'll play the video again here. Again, this is movie stuff, right? So during gaming you don't notice these type of things as often unless you're playing a game that's really dark. And again, normal desktop usage, you wouldn't notice this at all, really. So again, so even when you're playing a video, like you can see the black quality on the right is just significantly better than on the left. So yeah, I mean, I was really hoping this Lenovo was a keeper, because I really want a high refresh rate VA panel that has G-Sync. If you're looking to get into a panel like a VA that has a high contrast, if you've gotten to the point where you're sick and tired of, you know, your TN panels and your IPS with their you know, low contrast ratings and just not that great quality of an image, then a VA panel is the way to go. Until OLED comes in and is affordable and widespread, VA is the best way to get high contrast deep blacks. Unfortunately, the Izio is really hard to find. It came out, you know, a few years ago, and you know, you can still find them, but you know, they are hard to find and they are expensive. In my opinion, if you're a first-time buyer of a VA panel, then sure, you might like the Lenovo if you can look past these faults that I see. And you know what? Your panel might not have as much clouding as mine. You know, it's possible that this is a QC issue, and that, you know, you might get a better panel than me. Because everything else about the panel is great. The G-Sync, the 144 Hertz, the curve, I really like the curve. I feel it's very natural for desktop use. I don't really think curved TVs make sense for like I don't really think curved TVs make sense like in your living room, but on your computer desk, and if you're gonna go dual displays, it's a really cool idea, and it looks really nice. So yeah, for me personally, this is not for me when I compare it to what I already have in terms of quality. So I will still be waiting to see if I can find, you know, maybe a new panel that comes out later that has G-Sync, a high refresh rate VA panel.